Noyes just mentioned it was an upbeat day for the Philippine stock market. Is this still a good time to invest? Which stock should investors buy, sell, or hold? Let's hear it from Trading Edge founder and chief investment strategist, Ron Acoba. Ron, thank you so much for joining us. Does the stock market still have legs to move higher, given that the second quarter GDP will be released tomorrow?
Well, for me, in the short run, definitely precisely because of today's performance. It was up 1.4% to bring itself back above the 6.6 level. So the way that we see it, its ability to do so and the ability of the index to establish a series of higher low bases actually position it to revisit its recent high of around 7,000. Not necessarily in the short run, but perhaps in the next couple of weeks or a month or so.
So what are you expecting from the April to June economic data tomorrow? What are your numbers, briefly?
Well, analysts are expecting a double-digit growth for the second quarter on a year-on-year basis. I'm not actually going to be surprised. It's not, even if it looks or sounds quite robust from a face value perspective, for me, it's not really exciting because of the fact that we're coming off a low base, which is of second quarter of last year. If you recall, second quarter of last year, we are at the peak, at the onset of the pandemic, where the economy fell or contracted by 16.9%. So we're coming at a very, very low base. So it's to no surprise that we will likely register a robust growth of somewhere between 9 to 10 or 9 to 11% for the recent quarter, which will be reported early tomorrow.
So Ron, I would just like to jump in, and we will continue our discussion in a moment because we would now like to take you live to Wall Street. And on your screens right now, members of the Hilton Grade Vacations Group, who will be ringing any second now, the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. And this marks the beginning of a new trading week in the U.S. Stocks there closed mixed on Friday amid a better than expected July employment report. And still, investors are worried over the rise of COVID-19 Delta variant cases and its impact on the American and Chinese economies. Well, there you have it, the opening bell on the New York Stock Exchange. There you have it, the opening bell. Members of the Hilton Grand Vacations Group cheering on the start of the new trading week. And we will have the opening numbers for you in a moment. Ron, let us continue our discussion with you. First of all, in your buy, sell, hold recommendation, your first pick is Century Pacific Food. What's the upside and downside, briefly, of Century Pacific Food stock? Well,
clearly, firstly, Century Pacific, it's on a clear uptrend, a few points away from its all-time high, a few points away from its 52-week high. It's despite that it's trading at such a key level, it still has an upside relative to its 12-month consensus of around 15%. And because of the fact that it's trading on a clear uptrend with no resistance ahead, it's actually easy for it to not only continue to rise by another 15%, but even 20 to 30% in the next few months. Take note, Century Pacific is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, stock in its segment. Having said that, I expect it to continue to receive a lot of fund inflows and to continue to outperform.
All right, let's take a look at your recommendation for Century Pacific Food. It is a buy. But you mentioned it's already close to its 52-week high. Isn't it going to be an expensive stock?
Well, like I said, even if you notice the performers over the past few weeks, the only performers were the ones that were leading the market. Say, you talk about ICT, you talk about Monde, you talk about ACE-N. Those stocks are the leaders in the market relative to the market that is weak. So you can argue that they may appear to be rich because they are trading at their highs, but what has happened? The strong stocks continue to be strong, and that's actually to no surprise because funds will always continue to move in this particular stocks, and they have a reason why they continue to like it.
All right, let's move on now to your next stock recommendation, which is Emperador of the Andrew Tan Group. What is the upside and downside of the company, which is last traded at 13 pesos and 10 centavos?
Well, let me talk about the downside. Downside is that it's trading richly at 19% premium over its 12-month consensus fair value estimate of around 11 pesos. It's currently trading at around 13.10. So from that point of view, on the fundamental end, there's a downside of around 19%. And this is despite the fact that the stock has already declined by around 15% over the past 2 to 3 days from its high of around 15.50 or 16. So, which sort of saying that I see more downside. And one of the main reasons is that if you recall, it was recently announced that Emperador will be removed from the PSE index. So from that end, we can expect a lot more fund outflows to come out of to continue to sell the stock, at least in the near term.
And by just saying that, and with your analysis of the downside, your recommendation for Emperador Incorporated is a sell.
Sell.
All right.
Yes.
Let's move on now to Ayala Land Logistics Holdings Corporation. Last traded price at 4 pesos and 29 centavos. What do you like about this stock?
Well, what I liked about the stock is, despite it trading richly at a 32 or 33 times forward PE, which is a bit rich from my point of view, is the fact that it is in a position to benefit from the increasing demand for industrial properties over the mid to long run. However, in the short run, as I've mentioned, at current prices, the stock is already trading at a rich forward PE of around 32 to 33 times PE. Additionally, at 4.29, it is thereabouts trading right at its 12-month consensus fair value estimate of around 4.3. So you can argue that there's no upside from a fundamental perspective in the short run. But then again, given its prospects and, like I said, the increasing demand for industrial properties, I see a lot of positive upside for it in the long run, perhaps not in the present year, but in the coming year.
So with no potential upside in the near term due to fundamental reasons for Ayala Land Logistics, your recommendation for the stock is a hold.
A hold.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us on the Final Word Buy, Sell, Hold. Ron Acoba from Trading Edge.